Friends, today is a special day in the church, and it's not just about being Commitment or Pledge Sunday here at First United. This is a bigger church celebration. This is about the Transfiguration. Jesus going up a mountain just like Moses had gone up a mountain. Jesus going up a mountain just like Elijah had gone up a mountain. But Jesus going up not alone, but taking some friends with him, taking some of his students, his followers with him. Jesus going up a mountain and having an encounter, an experience of the divine, just like Moses, just like Elijah had on the mountain. This is a fascinating event. This is a transformative event. Indeed, the story says that Jesus changed in his appearance, right? He was no longer the same. He was, as the Greek would tell us, he was metamorphosized. He was shifted and changed. He became something else. Awesome. Wonderful, fantastic. I want to stay on the mountain. It seems Peter may have been thinking, let's build some structures. Let's stay here. Let's live. Let's live in these amazing moments connected with the divine, these awe-inspiring, transformative experiences. Let's just live there. And we could have stopped. Kim could have stopped reading for us today, but she continued on. And you know, at the end of a movie sometimes, right, like the day has been won, everything is going beautifully, and then it stops. And I don't know if you're like me, sometimes you're like, well, what happened on the next day? Where did we go from here? And our gospel writer continues the story for us, because this is not where it ends. On the next day, they descended. They went down from the mountain, and the whole crowds of people were waiting for them. Just as Moses went down from the mountain to engage with the people. Just as Elijah went down from the mountain to engage with God's people, Jesus comes down from the mountain and is met by a crowd of folks who are in great need. While he was up on the mountain, while Moses was up on the mountain, while Elijah had been up on the mountain, having this amazing experience, life kept going down below. Life kept happening in the valleys and in the wildernesses. Life kept happening in the cities and in the towns, and it was hard. People kept hurting, and they were still in need of healing. And what sticks out to me this Transfiguration Sunday in Luke's text is this descent down the mountain and this need and this cry for help from this father, from this parent, for their child. Asking Jesus to offer healing and wholeness, saying, no one else can do it. No one else has been effective. Can you do it, Jesus? And Jesus' response might shock us a little bit. He doesn't just say, yes, of course, bring the child into my presence and I will offer the healing that he deserves and that he needs. He remarks, are you kidding me? They couldn't do it? Y'all haven't figured out some of this mess while I was away? How are you not farther along this journey towards healing and wholeness and well-being? This unbelieving, this untrusting generation. How much longer will you persist in this way? How much longer am I going to have to deal with this? And this aspect, this piece struck me, given where we are in our lives, in our world today. We come, we gather as faith communities to experience the presence of God, the welcome of God, the love of God that accepts each and every one of us, each and every one of you for who you are, as you are, blesses you, embraces you, wholly and fully loves you. We are changed, we are transformed, we are transfigured. And then we go back out into the world and we see the mess that continues all around us, the healing that continues to be withheld, whether folks are unable to do that healing or perhaps unwilling to offer that healing, to engage in the work of wholeness, to engage in the work of wellness, and creating peace that is not just the cessation of fighting, right? But is the establishment of justice, of beauty, of dignity, of respect, of each and every one of us having enough that we go out into the world and we hear and we see what is happening, the destruction that continues, and we perhaps are feeling like Jesus here in this text. How much longer are we going to have to deal with this? How much longer will the injustice persist? How much longer will health be withheld from those who are in need of it? How much longer will healing be withheld from those who are hurting? But Jesus doesn't stop there, right? He's not just going to throw in the towel. He doesn't just say, I'm done with you. Then he says, bring the child to me. And he continues in that work of healing. He offers wellness, wholeness to this beloved one of God, who has been cast aside, who has been forgotten by so many, who has been left to suffer, left to experience whatever pain he is going through. Jesus, having just had this experience with the divine, is remembers, is fully filled with the call, the invitation to offer God's gifts to this one who is healed, is in need of healing, who is hurting. Friends, I think that there is something here for us today. Perhaps we can be reminded that being a follower of Jesus is not about staying on the mountain. It's not about just finding that place of safety and security and serenity for ourselves. Does it include that? Yes. Do we need that? Yes. Do we stay there away from those who are hurting, those who are in need of healing? No. We take it with us. We take that sense of safety and security and serenity with us into the world. And will it make us dissatisfied? I sure hope so. There is a big disconnect, a huge chasm, a mountain to a valley, perhaps, space between the world God envisions, the world God invites us to create, the world God longs for and calls us to, and the world as we experience it today, the world that we have been creating today. There should be this feel, this rub of dissatisfaction. But we are not. We are not to stay there. We are not to remain in that place of dissatisfaction and do nothing. We are called to follow in the footsteps, in the way, in the path of Jesus, and to offer that healing, to engage in the work of wholeness. But not to do that on our own. We have tremendous partners, friends. Tremendous partners, certainly, that are gathered here in this place. But the work is much bigger. It's much more. We see that, we experience that, we perceive that. God's wisdom inspires us to acknowledge that we are not alone in this, but to engage with, to link hands with, to support, to uplift, to amplify the work of healing and wholeness being done in our community. Friends, that's what we've been focusing on throughout the month of February as we have been engaging in our stewardship campaign, how we will use our gifts to engage in God's work. And your gifts don't just feed this community. We do feed this community. We feed one another so that in our daily lives, we can go out and engage in the work of healing. We can engage in the work of promoting wellness. Yes, 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 indeed, we do that. And we support this community. We offer our gifts to First United Church because when we bring our gifts together, we have gifts to share with the wider community. We have gifts to share with community partners that can engage in ministry in ways that we might not be able to on our own. So we heard from Reimagining Opera for Kids. No, we didn't hear from them, but we will. And we're going to hear their song sometime coming up soon. That was the day we had to cancel. We heard about the People's Cooperative Market and their work. We heard about Al-Anon and the way that people's lives are touched through their work, through their ministry. We heard about the impact the welcome and the embrace that First United has had and continues to have on the Mennonite Fellowship that we've been partnering with for over 20 years now. Friends, we are invited, we are called to experience, yes, to go have those mountaintop experiences where we are rooted, where we are centered in the security and the safety and the serenity of God, of the divine, and the next day, the next week, the next month, the next moment, to go out and share those gifts, to meet the needs of the world, be dissatisfied with where we are, and to move toward greater healing and wholeness. Friends, I invite you in this time, in this place, to consider, just as the children did, to consider what gifts you will share, to continue that work of healing that God inspires within us, that Jesus guides us on that path toward wholeness, how we are invited to travel that journey together. What gifts will you offer? Some of them may be monetary. You have the official pledge cards for that. So many more of them will not be. So many more of them will be something else, will be the offering of time, will be the sharing of questions, will be the showing up, the gift of showing up and fully being a part of a community. I will give you a moment now to reflect and a moment to prepare to respond, because you're going to be invited. In moments from now, you will be invited to come and to offer those gifts. So friends, let us be together now for a moment of reflection. Let us be together for a moment of meditation. Let us be together for a moment of prayer, open to the presence of the divine that is here in this place and calling us to go down the mountain, to go into the valleys, to go into the wilderness. How are you being invited and inspired to share your gifts for the healing, the holding, the well-being of our broader community? Friends, let us be together now for a moment of pause.